Well, I just realized I forgot to film putting on the swedge, but I guess it's gonna be for next time I do it. But there it is. Swedge is on at 120 grit. There's no purpose to go higher than that because we're gonna be sanding that bad boy anyways, hand sanding. Yeah, I'll try to remember to film the rest. Just to show my setup though, I had my grinder on the horizontal position. I had this work rest in here, right below. See, it hangs right below the contact wheel. And then I was working my way at, I think, 70 degrees. And I would just stay on the the work rest. Sorry, and then I would just keep like an invisible line here where the contact would be, and I would try to always touch that invisible line. So whenever it goes down, I would push up and then back down. So it's always this level here. So I'd go up, 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 down, 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 down. So this way it's a nice consistent thickness the whole way. Alright, now time to put my scribe line on the center line here for when I'm grinding, so I stay in the middle. Usually you just put your blade flat on a flat surface and you run a drill bit that's the same thickness of the blade along. However, you got to remember we have a taper on this blade, so it is thicker here than it is here, so the line would go off. To offset that, I just put it on a G10 spacer, then I run it one side. Like so. And then do the same thing the other way around. And this way you can see we got a pretty centered scribe line here. So here we just want a regular flat grind. It gets a bit tricky when you get to here. You just have to give less pressure a little bit so you don't go too far. There's two ways to do it. I could set up on a jig. However, I do enjoy freehand grinding, so that's what I'll do for this one. Alright, so I got my file guy set up here, so that just makes sure that I get the same plunge lines on both sides, that it's straight and square. I got my middle line here that I'm gonna keep looking at all the time to see if I'm not going too far. The key here is to make sure that this line here stays straight. So I start low and I just set in like a straight line, and then I just, each time I do a next pass, I'll push a little more down so that line just gets higher. You need to be patient. You really want this to be straight. If you go too far, you can't put metal back on. And I'll go like 90% of that line on the 36 grit, and then we'll do 60, 120, and 220 to get to that line. And I forgot to say I'm running fresh 36 grit belt at full speed on the belt grinder. That's why I'm wearing earplugs. It's quite loud. So here you see I just take my time and I dip the blade off in my water bucket just to keep it cool so I don't ruin the temper. I do a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side. I forgot to say too, if you have like a good side and a bad side, like I'm right-handed, so it's easier on my right hand, I always start on the bad side on the left hand. So then if you go over or something, it's easier to adjust after and to make the right side look the same. So now I figured that the 36 grit belt goes really fast to take metal off, so I stopped a little bit quite before my desired plunge line. I don't know if you can see, yeah, here. so that I can have, especially on this side, that was my good side, that was my bad side. So I can go on the finer grit belt, the 60 grit, and I can take more of my time to make everything look even and it doesn't go too fast. Fresh 60 grit belt, I run at 50%. So 2 important things here. The first one is that you want to make sure you get rid of those 36 grit marks all the way. So that's why you stop quite a bit before, going up the plunge line on the 36, so you can dig more on the 60 grit and remove the 36 grits. And the second thing is that the finer you go in belts, the more friction it creates, or the more often you want to dip that blade in water to keep it cold. So this is the result after machine grinding. And I did go a little higher than I wanted, but I can fix that. Hand sanding, I'll push more on that flat side. I'll bring everything down, but I don't want to bring it down too much. It's pretty close to what I wanted originally. I'll just show you the pattern. Here, pretty similar. And the plunge lines are even on both sides. So that's a win. Off to hand sanding. So now I'm at the hand sanding part. There's some, imperfections. You can see here this isn't quite straight. So first step is going to be with the sandpaper. I cut some bacon strips, 1-inch strips that I use my sanding stick with a flat attachment. So I sand flat here to bring all these lines straight, and then I sand flat here to bring this line straight, and flat here to bring this line straight. Once this is done, then I'll switch to the stones, because that's much more efficient to just go to higher grits, especially on a 63.5, 64 HRC knife. So now I'm done with the 120 grit sandpaper on this side. You can see there's no more grind line going this way anywhere. Even if you look the light, there's no reflection of anything, so you really want to take a lot of time, more time than you think. The first 120 grit is the most well, they are important, but the first one's the most important. And so I went this way. Now I'm switching to the sanding stones, and I'm gonna go 45-degree angle about, and I don't want to see any lines going this way. 220 is done. We're gonna go through 320. Again, you really want to take your time, remove all those scratches, because the biggest lie a knife maker can tell himself is that, oh yeah, no, I'll just get that scratch in the next grit. You won't. It's going to take you forever, and it's not worth the time. So just take your time on every grit and then move forward slowly. So in the previous clips, you can just see me jumping from one grit to another, but here on the time lapse, you can see how tedious this is. It's a lot of time hand sanding, going back and forth, checking if there's any scratch left, wiping the excess, getting back at it, sitting and going This is 600 grit on the sanding stone. Now let's go check if it will take a buff compared to the machine finish. So we're back in the shop. As we said, 600 finish here. To the naked eye, I went sideways and sideways, so there's no signs of any scratches that are lower than 600. However, when you start buffing it, sometimes you can see if I was too sloppy and I left some bigger grits. But yeah, so first step, put on the red wheel this is from Combat or Maverick Abrasive with the black compound, and then we see if we did it properly. Alright, so black compound is done. I'm gonna move to green rouge. The key, the goal here is not to get the final polish, it's to see what we missed. Anyways, 900, or was I 900 or 600? 900, I think, would not cut it for Magnacut. I really want to go to 2000 and then rub it with some diamond paste before I do the final polish, because it would still leave some marks. If you look closely at it, it would not give like a perfect mirror. So now I can already see there's one scratch here that's not completely gone. And I'm gonna, yeah, with the green rouge, it will make everything that I missed pop more, so I can go back to hand sanding and see what I missed, so, and get it properly. Cool, so we took this to the green rouge. It looks all right. It could be tempting to just, you know, put it on the loose wheel and get the final mirror finish. I'll do it, but it's not quite right. Like, if you want to do it really nice, you see there's still a little scratch here, and if you look really closely at it, like, it's not quite a mirror. It's not popping, even though it's Magnacut, pretty hard to get it popping. But yeah, it's worth to get the diamond paste, and let's do a comparison of this polish versus the final polish. So it's been a couple hours of hand sanding, and I'm finally done all the way up to 1200 with the sanding stick. So now you can see it's starting to look pretty good and reflective. Still can see the scuffs from the stones, but we're about to change media, leave the stones and go to the diamond paste. If you do want to get like a real nice mirror finish, you do need diamond paste, and you need high quality diamond paste. This one here is Tech Diamond Tool, and this is DMT. So I go from 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, so here, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, and 15,000. I apply a little bit of paste on a scrap piece of leather and just rub like this, and you can't really see when it's done, so you go for a little while, and then you stop and you go up and rinse and repeat. So here I just put a dab of that diamond paste on the leather and scrub, and make sure you don't cross-contaminate the diamond paste, so change leather scrap for each grit of diamond paste. So that 2000 grit diamond paste did a really great job, but it also showed back some of the 900 grit scratch marks that we can see are going like this way. So I'm gonna go back to the 1200 stone and get rid of that and repeat the process. And this is what the 2000 diamond paste polish looks like. So it's looking pretty good already. And now we just go up until it's really shiny. One side is done, taping it for protection, and starting over on the other side. So I'm doing the second side now. I'm at 220 grit right now, looking pretty good. And I just wanted to show you, it's the middle of the night, I'm on baby duty, and my baby won't stop crying unless it's attached to me. So I found this safe way of polishing my knife while caring for the baby. Like this, and like that. Look how comfy it looks. Multitask. All right, we're now at 600 grit on that side. You can almost see yourself. I'm gonna take it to the buffer again, see what we forgot that we can't see right now with a naked eye. Alright, so the buffer showed that we did a pretty good job. I did took my time a little more on this side than the other side, and it showed more. However, there's still 3 low spots. There's one scratch here, one here, and one here that I can still see. So I'm gonna keep scrubbing those until we can't see them, and then go on to the diamond powder paste. Alright, so now we're at the 2000 grit mark. It is getting mirrory, however there's still some minor scratches, stuff is uneven, so now is the time to take it to the buffer, and then we're going to come back to finalize everything with the higher grit diamond paste. Sweet, so that's after buffing. You can see it is more matte and less shiny, but it is more even now. So we're gonna go back to those diamond paste and get it mirror shiny. Sweet, so we've done it, both sides. Pretty shiny on this Magnacut steel. It's not an easy one, but when you're patient and you have the right equipment, you can do it. Now let's put on those scales and finish this build.